a gang behind a $6 million investment scam that targeted more than 150 victims and hounded them into parting with their savings, have been jailed. The group of 5, who are from Lancashire, targeted mainly elderly victims aged between 60 and 90, using high-pressure sales tactics to push them into handing over money, even convincing one to give $250,000. One victim said he had been left very depressed with the general loss of faith in humanity following what police called a crime of pure greed. The gang jailed for a total of 17 years between them befriended some of those they scammed, forging documents and impersonating insurance brokers in order to steal cash. Mastermind David Clarkson, 70, was jailed at Southwark Crown Court on Tuesday the 22nd of July after admitting his crimes at an earlier hearing. The remaining defendants were found guilty in March after a 6-month trial and were also sentenced on Tuesday. The court heard City of London police and bank staff managed to recover more than $2 million of stolen money. Lillian Milner bought herself a Porsche, while many upset and elderly victims lost their life savings. One victim said in his impact statement, "I have found it increasingly harder to face the day and rarely have a good night's sleep, with difficulty in finding the motivation to get on with the daily tasks at hand. Dealing with this case has been very overwhelming and mentally consuming, often leaving me very depressed, with a general loss of faith in humanity." Clarkson, 70, of Livesey Branch Road, Blackburn, was sentenced to 7.5 years at Southwark Crown Court on Tuesday the 22nd of July, having admitted conspiracy to defraud money laundering and perverting the course of justice at an earlier hearing. Lillian Milner, 57, of Slivin Clod Road, Rosendale, Lancashire, was jailed for 5 years and 6 months for conspiracy to defraud and money laundering. Graham Milner, 55, her husband, of the same address, received 3 years and 6 months for money laundering. Mark Fallon, 60, of Haslingden Old Road, Rosendale, Lancashire, was sentenced to 4 years and 6 months for conspiracy to defraud and money laundering. Anthony Flackton, 39, of Buccleuch Green, Winchfield, Hampshire, was jailed for 5 years for conspiracy to defraud and money laundering. David Clarkson's son, Paul Clarkson, 46, of Shawbridge Street, Clitheroe, Lancashire, was sentenced to 20 months imprisonment, suspended for 2 years, and ordered to carry out 880 hours of unpaid work for money laundering. Detective Constable J. Smith from City of London's police said these fraudsters stole life savings from hundreds, abusing their trusted position out of pure greed. Clarkson in particular showed no remorse, cloning a regulated insurer and impersonating the broker to trick victims and later forging medical documents to avoid a trial. Faced with overwhelming evidence, he eventually pleaded guilty. "I thank the victims and their families for their strength and their cooperation, and we remember those who sadly passed during the process. I hope this result brings some comfort." The police remain committed to pursuing those who abuse trust and exploit the vulnerable. Let this case be a warning. You will be found and prosecuted and convicted. The police investigation was launched when suspicious payments were made by a company called Sable Limited to a newly formed law firm in August 2016. Sable claimed to invest in property and opened a $3.5 million bond scheme offering fake returns of 7% to lure in victims. Police found that the trio behind the company, David Clarkson, Lillian Milner and Flackton, had links to an earlier investment scheme called Equitable Law Capital. In reality, none of the investments was genuine, with the trio using internet advertising, cold calling and company brochures to convince victims. Graham Milner and Paul Clarkson were appointed group directors of ELC when they had no relevant experience and became involved in money laundering. A front company based in Seychelles and Switzerland was used to disguise the fact that the money had come from crime. Lillian Milner and Fallon, who was a solicitor, also used a newly set up law firm to launder money, with commission payments to Flackton going through an account in Mauritius. Both Equitable Law Capital and Sable went into administration and voluntary liquidation at the end of 2016 on a total of more than $4 million. Please like this video, please comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.